So they've assumed that it will come on at a particular time. It won't now. So there's a hole that the plan didn't allow for.
Well, and that's sort of emblematic of the culture within this industry too, isn't it, Graham? Because there's a reluctance of anyone within the industry to upset this relentless march towards renewables. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, most of the money at the moment is in the renewable sector. We're closing down coal-fired power stations. We are building some more gas ones. But if you want to get employed and you're a consultant or you work in the industry in some way or other, you basically have to pay lip service to the corporate design, whether you think that it's going to work or not. So to get sense in this area, you actually have to talk to people who no longer have to worry about paying mortgages, putting kids through school, putting bread on the table, and that's generally older engineers who are retired.
Right.
And they
people
look
like
at it and they
yourself.
say, this is just a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, it is. That's right. Well, let's get back to Chris Bowen's plans. He was boasting this week about $2.7 billion worth of big batteries being built into this new system. That doesn't actually sound like a lot to me. What role do these batteries play, and are they made using cobalt dug up by child slaves in Congo?
Well, it's certainly made using cobalt, and most of the cobalt comes from the Congo. So, yes, I'd say so. The batteries are negligible in terms of their contribution to the network and storage. What the batteries are doing at the moment is providing stability to the system. So when there's a fluctuation, the batteries can quickly discharge more quickly than any generator could. So that's their role at the moment. The figures to use them for storage, A, they're far too expensive, but B, we don't have the mines to provide the minerals to build the batteries at the moment. So there's no chance that batteries are actually going to do more than play a sideshow. And indeed, if you look at the ISP from AEMO, you find that even in 2050, something like 10% of capacity will be gas-fired power, because they know that there won't be storage to cover all the gaps that need to be covered.
Well, that's at odds with what Chris Bowen is telling us, isn't it?
It is. And someone ought to ask Chris Bowen why the ISP has this figure in for gas-fired power stations in 2050, why he's not drawing our attention to it, and how having that percentage of electricity being generated by gas is consistent with his net zero.
Yeah, exactly. Now, how likely are blackouts in your opinion? I know AEMO was quoted saying, the head of AEMO was quoted saying this week that there will be shortfalls of some kind in 2027. Do you think there will be blackouts, and when?
Look, there'll probably be blackouts before then. They've avoided blackouts in some cases by what they call demand management. And demand management means telling a big user that they'd like them to stop using for a period of time, and they pay them to compensate them for that. You might have seen that Rio has completely written off its smelter at Boyne in Gladstone. I suspect part of the reason for that is that they don't have any faith in its long-term future, because if you're going to find a user that can help out with these potential blackouts and make a significant difference, the alumina refineries in Queensland make up about 10% of power demand. Right. So if you're getting close, you ring them up and say, look, guys, we'll pay you. You need to come offline. You know they can't go offline for more than 3 hours, otherwise the pots freeze up and you've got to build a whole new refinery. But they're the sort of tricks they've been doing. So we have been having blackouts. They've just been selective to particular users.
Oh, so consumers or the electorate isn't quite aware of what's happening in the system?
The electorate is not aware at the moment, no.
Right.